I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.
He went ahead and let her open the blinds, but it was kind of dim because it was 7:30 at night. But I told him leave it open for the morning. But unfortunately, that morning didn't come for my husband. My name is Casandra Greer, and I am the wife of Nicholas Lee. I am employed by Chicago Public Schools. I teach first grade. I have been teaching for over 14 years, but now my passion has drifted. My husband was incarcerated at the Cook County Jail. He wasn't convicted of anything. The living conditions was deplorable. It was absolutely horrible. At the beginning of March, he noticed that there were two sick inmates on his tier. It was a dormitory unit where my husband and 50 other gentlemen shared a common space. So there was really nowhere for him to like social distance or self quarantine. So he was taking the necessary precautions that he could with what he had, because he had no sanitizing products, no anything to clean around the area, just nothing. So God, please try to cover. Days went by, the gentleman got sicker. They got sicker. One day, one of the gentlemen was so sick, he was calling out saying that he felt like he was about to pass out. I began to become more and more worried. So now I'm calling more and more. March 28th, finally answered the phone. She informed me that due to this pandemic, they were short staffed. There were no social workers that I could speak with. I asked for a sheriff. There were none available to speak with me. I left my name and number in hopes that someone would come contact me so I can get my husband moved off that tier and get the other gentleman help. That never happened. I pulled up my phone records and I started to count. I got to 132. March 29th, he had a sore throat. That was the first symptom that he had. When he called me, he said, baby, I don't feel well. He said, my throat is hurting. He said, oh my God. He's like, have you heard from anyone?
Well, you heard it there. You see the video. It's a powerful and riveting story. And joining us to talk more about that is Casandra Greer-Lee herself and Dr. LaShawn Littrice. And in just a minute, we're also going to be joined by Fred Hampton Jr. And there he is. Greetings. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming back on and joining us. It's a pleasure and welcome.
Thank you.
Free them all. What's happening, comrade?
Hey, free them all. Right on. Well, thank you for having us. Right on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's really good to see all of you. Casandra, thanks again for coming back on. We know you were trying to get here last week, and but you know, you as we said, you are a school teacher, so shout out to you for that as well. So we know how that we can go a little bit, but we saw the video. We see that powerful story. Please add on to it or elaborate or update if you can on anything we would need to know. And again, just welcome and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. As you stated, I thank you for helping me shed light on my husband's murder. I call it a murder because he's not supposed to be dead. He's dead because of negligence. He's dead because of we have a sheriff here in Chicago that has a blatant disrespect for human life. Is happening right now again. I thank God for the people like Dr. LaShawn and Chairman Fred, who has stood up and has helped me since the beginning, because I was by myself, because in Chicago and other places, they perceive the inmates' lives don't matter. So I've been fighting this fight, and because of people like you that help me shed light, more attention is being drawn to it. Right now, we're back in a battle with the Cook County Jail because the same thing is happening again. And you would think that after 15 lives lost, that Sheriff Tom Dart would have some form of plan in place, but he does not. He is doing the same exact thing while we have men begging for Chairman Fred Hampton to come and see their living conditions. He was at the country club yesterday having a big fundraiser because he's running again. But we have inmates. I was up all night looking up policies and laws and looking up things to talk to Dr. LaShawn and Chairman Fred about, because you have to understand, I'm not knowledgeable about the penal system. I became knowledgeable when they murdered my husband, and I was educating myself and thanking God for people like Chairman. These men are back there begging for the chairman to come in to see their living conditions, for Dr. LaShawn to come in to help them, because she's a community psychologist, and I'm telling them, just hold on. But what people don't understand is that I'm reliving the same thing that I did last year with my husband. I have men on the phone saying, please, Cassandra, what's going on? Is the chairman, is they going to let him in here so he can see what we're saying? Because this man has sent out a rebuttal, which when I say this man, Tom Dart has sent out a rebuttal that he don't see anything wrong. He's doing the best he can. But remind you, he hasn't been at that jail since last year. He does interviews in front of the jail, but he has not physically been inside since last year because he wants to protect himself and his family. So now they have judged Fred Hampton because they want to stop everything, anything to help the men. They have said that they have labeled Chairman Fred Hampton as some type of gang chief just to stop him from coming inside, because they said that if 10 or more men, if you have power over 10 or more men and they follow you, then you're a leader of a gang. That's just horrible. This man, they listened to him. And what made them upset is that when I called Chairman on the phone to try to calm the situation down, because they were going to barricade themselves in there because they don't have anything to help sanitize or any mask, anything. Well, they have masks now. So that's one thing we did get, but they don't have any sanitizing products. They don't have a way to social distance. So I called the chairman to calm them down. And when they noticed that he was on the phone, all the men began to listen. And he told them to stand down. I'm coming. I'm on my way to help you all. And when the guards saw the power that he had, because they love and respect him, that's what they're labeling the chairman as now, a gang chief. And it's just horrible. It's just horrible.
Just
Cook
quickly
County,
before we move on, let me just ask real quick. I'm sorry, because I just want to be clear. When you say that they murdered your husband, I know we heard the video, but could you just quickly, why are you describing this as a murder?
Because
Specifically,
had my husband died, okay, just know that I'm aware that the coronavirus is a virus, and it's something that just happened. Even though people have their own theories about it was man-made. I don't know that, but just say it was the flu. Anything. Had the Cook County Jail did anything to help my husband as far as medical attention, anything. But let me say this. My husband died April 12th. Tom Dart received an additional $10 million in November, because that's when they told him about this pandemic, to plan for it. He did absolutely nothing to
you're talking about
plan
the previous November.
the previous November, before my
Mhm.
husband died. So he did absolutely nothing to prepare for this pandemic. They informed all of the penal institutions, the schools, everyone. Had he did anything to prepare for this pandemic, I would have said it was just God's will. My husband died. But I'm saying he was murdered because there was no preparation for the pandemic. He had no plan in place. He had no mask. There was no social distancing. There was absolutely nothing. And remind you, it wasn't only inmates that died. It was employees that died as well. So he didn't care about them either.
Cook County jail is notorious, probably one of the most notorious jails in the country. I know that in the past, I talked with Chairman Fred. He was talking about the tortures that's going on, the women being forced to reuse their sanitary napkins and things of that nature. Can you give Chairman Fred a overview of what Cook County has been throughout the years, because of the fact that this case with your husband clearly, is medical apartheid, it's neglect, so on and so forth. So I understand you saying that it's murder, because that's what it is. But can you speak to Cook County because of the fact that it ain't no new thing, as the OG would say?
Yeah, first, let me premise with this. It's unfortunate, but I'm fortunate to know these two sisters, Dr. LaShawn and Casandra Greer-Lee. I say unfortunate, being the conditions that have brought us together. but fortunate because they are unyielding. You know, I mean, pushing the line 10 toes down. You know, consistently about not only what's happening in Cook County Jail, but other concentration camps. You know what I'm saying, throughout the country. We just came back from Logan, all women's prison in Southern Illinois. You know what I'm saying, right at the front of gates and bars. You know, so on it. So I just want to premise with that. But again, I think it's imperative that we put stuff in, in its correct political as well as historical context. You know, I unite and I reiterate, what our sister said. You know, her husband was murdered, and also in Cook County Jail. This is though this is nothing new, but with the climate of the coronavirus, it's capitalism on steroids. If you go back and look, even when they first were worried about the coronavirus, Cook County Jail was described as the hot spot, the hotbed of the coronavirus. In fact, also, this is the largest county jail in the country. It's the same infamous Cook County Jail that the late Gil Scott Heron talked about, the horrid conditions about it. In fact, you go back and look at some of the videos. There was a question that I seen one of the videos excerpts. Jaguar Wright, they had asked someone asked a question about, aren't you fearful about mentioning Clive Davis, the music mogul? What can happen? And she said something to the effect that, listen, after being in Cook County Jail, my whole life has changed. I'm not scared of nothing. This is to put this in context, and I was I was held captive there myself before, and the division, the particular Division 10, Division 9, we challenged then back when it was being built. Detainees were not allowed to smoke cigarettes out of fear of explosion because of the amount of toxic waste that was being built upon. The conditions are so horrid. You have people that have been there before, grown men, that would tell you, do not drive past that street. I mean, who've been out over an excess of 10, 15 years old. After 10, 15 years, they would refuse. Just the memories alone of Cook County Jail. And just that old, the tactic, the response from Sheriff Tom Dart, you would think it's an outdated tactic, so that blanket every time. I mean, black folks have family reunion, whatever, they come together, be on the bus together, gang, just constant. But the deal is nothing. We dismiss that, we become, immune to it. But the reality is, it sets the stage for, political imprisonment. It sets the stage for assassination. Mind you, Cook County State's Attorney L.V. Hangingham, prior to Chairman Fred's assassination, Defense Counsel Mark Clark's assassination. The front page of the paper said there was all-out war on the gangs declared by Cook County State's Attorney L.V. Hangingham. So we got to struggle to keep this in political context, what's going on here. And again, Cook County Jail is the largest, county jail in the country. As you said earlier, I've been talking to you for years. We've been talking about this for what's been going on, but again, it's intense. It's cold red. It's cold red.
Damn.
Dr. Littrice, again, welcome back, and I want to encourage people to go back and see last week's video where we talked a little bit more about your background, because I think your story is why and how you became Dr. Littrice is really important. But I wanted to, at least to start with, asking you, after hearing this from Casandra, from Chairman Fred, and even having some experience myself dealing with counseling psychologists, which I know is your field, what, and some of the debates within that field, what do you see as the role of counseling psychology in dealing with the issues, or in engaging these issues, or what should be the role of counseling psychologists in response to what we've been hearing here?
Thank you so much for having me back. I am really just in awe of the strength behind my sister Casandra. As I said before, that was one of the things that propelled me the most in joining forces with her. Of course, our brother Chairman Fred has always been on the scene, always been on the ground in any respect that we needed. So it's been truly just an honor just to even stand with him. As a community psychologist, and I want to clarify, I'm a community psychologist, not a counseling psychologist. We deal more, that's okay, I just wanted to correct it. We deal more with the systemic issues that affect us as Black people. And so anything from mass incarceration to poverty to homelessness, sex trafficking, the inhumane treatment of humans, but basically the disenfranchisement of those who look like me. So when I joined into the field of community psychology, in learning what the discipline focuses on, that's what drew me to it. I knew that there's a huge problem with mass incarceration affecting Black people, Black and brown people. I knew that women were an increasing number that were impacted with incarceration, but I also knew that behind the walls, from the other experiences that I had, I knew that behind the walls there's this blatant disrespect for human life, and once you are an inmate, your life doesn't matter. And so the trauma associated with that is what really needs to be talked about. And so we don't think about what happens to people when they go inside places like jails and prisons, and then they have to come back and almost be forced to mix into society like nothing ever happened. So just imagine a person who has been put in and out of that situation over and over again, and they see the unfair treatment, they see the judge and jury type mentality that exists behind the walls. We know for a fact the administration doesn't care about what happens to individuals once they're behind bars because they believe, hey, they deserve it. They shouldn't be here. And so that trauma is what we focus on. So there's a huge mental piece that's missing when we talk about mass incarceration. We talk about how lives are just shattered because people let inmates, lives perish, and they don't think that they have any sort of accountability to it. It's unreal. Getting $10 million for a budget to make sure that these prisons are COVID safe, and then taking the money and doing something else with it is ridiculous. And it's something that I'm glad is being highlighted because people are not aware of how serious this situation is in Cook County Jail.
Dr. Littrice, definitely appreciate your work. Have you been allowed to go in and speak with brothers and sisters inside of Cook County? Or
in a prior position that I held with a nonprofit agency before COVID, I worked inside Cook County Jail, and I was classified as an outside volunteer because the organization that I worked with, we housed a program in there, a fatherhood program that was geared towards reuniting fathers with their children, be it incarceration, drug addiction, mental health. And so we identified 2 units, I believe it's Division 6 and 10, that were eligible for those services. And those people could optionally join our classes. And we fought with the prisons because we wanted to give them monetary incentives for being a part of the classes. And the board inside, the administrative board, it was just a huge, nasty fight. And that was already one of those things that kind of caught my attention because they didn't know where I had been. But then once I was inside there and I saw just what was happening behind those walls, I told the people I work with, I'm not going to be able to work here very long because I'm on the inmate side. So the way that they were being treated was just unreal, and I'm talking about from guards, from staff, across the board. There may be 1 or 2, good officers here and there, but guess what? You can't really call yourself a good officer if you allow officers to abuse inmates. That's bull.
yeah.
Yeah, I almost want to say that it seems to be the definition of, or their definition of, a good officer are those willing to perform and be complicit and go along with the abuse. Casandra, are there any updates as to any? I think you probably laid this all out, but I just want to be clear. There has been no further response from the city or the state or any institution as in terms of your efforts to raise up what's happened with your husband?
Well, the only response is more lies, more cover-ups, more deceit, more negligence, and like I said, Mr. Dart, Tom Dart, is a person that just don't care. And you have to understand, we have a mayor that backs him up. She don't care. So that's why we're taking this fight to Springfield, because Governor Pritzker is the only person that can help my situation and also help the people held captive in the Cook County Jail and in these DOC facilities. So the only response that I have received, only rebuttal, is he thinks he's doing a great job, even though lives are being lost, even though one of the young men that was very vocal in speaking out, He just realized that he had COVID yesterday. He was too sick to really talk to me for a long time. They sent him over to the medical division. They're going to send him out to John Stroger. So as Mr. Dart, was celebrating yesterday and raising money, I was speaking to sick inmates and praying with them and for them.
So Cassandra, man, just for context, when did your husband transition, and how old was he?
He was 42 years young. He transitioned April 12th of 2020 at 4:20 a.m.
So it was early during
his name. Nicholas Lee was his name. He wasn't
Nicholas Lee.
The world. They labeled them as detainees in numbers when they passed away. But that's why I carry a really large picture, because I wanted people to know that he had a name, and he wasn't detainee number 3 that died. His name was Nicholas Lee, and he was 42 years old.
We're gonna make sure people know his name. You know what I'm saying? We definitely we in the fight. The beautiful thing about what we do at Black Power Media, we're not just quote unquote journalists. We have activists, and many of us work with Chairman Fred, and we definitely gonna stay in tune and make sure that we're in Atlanta. Jared's out in the Baltimore, Maryland area, but they definitely gonna know. We're not gonna just allow it to be swept under the rug. We know that there's been all types of abuse at Cook County for decades, and if you saying it's code red now, and I thought it was code red back then, we might invent a new color for this one.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the codes and the colors, I mean, I'm also very interested in this definition of you, Fred, as what is it that you were deemed as? Some sort of well, I want to say influencer in the context of the social media world. I know what that means, something else, but this idea, and almost as Cassandra, I think you were telling the story, it's almost like I'm almost picturing like a modern day, like the scene from Malcolm X, like when he comes and tells the brothers to do something and the police get all shook, and then Fred has the attention of a handful of those captured, and they get shook in a similar way. I don't mean to dramatize it, but that is actually the image I started to form in my head as you were talking.
That's exactly what it was. It was very, very powerful. And what I don't understand is that if they can see the power that this man had, it was about to be a riot. They were about to barricade themselves. And if this man can get on the phone and say, stand down, wait for me. And everybody, I wish you all could have saw it or heard it, because it was so much raucous in the background. I couldn't even hear the person that was talking to me. The first thing that popped in my head was, let me call Chairman, because I couldn't call Dr. I said, let me call Chairman. So they was like, she about to call Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. And it was like, okay. And I clicked up, I called him, and he couldn't even hear. And when the person that we was talking to, the detainee, he said, this is Chairman on the phone. He said, stand down. It became immediately quiet. And he said that he relayed the message that the chairman was telling them, and they were listening and they believed in him. They started putting his name in the window saying that he was coming, and they labeled him a gang chief.
Well, gang chief. That was the phrase I was looking for.
Yeah, just tag team what my sister just laid out. This again, this is a historical tactic that the state has utilized, and that phone call it still sticks with me. It still, as you said, the chaotic noise and stuff in the background, and I don't take that respect lightly, and it's reciprocal. The relationship is reciprocal. In other words, the respect they have for me, I have for them, and I'm duty bound, as a servant of the people, to deal with this. But it defies even the like you never hear the word cartel used in Chicago, regardless of the contradictions that's happening here. That this is the main spot El Chapo was moving around at. This tactic, it defies all logic. In fact, some of the brothers in county jail it went so far as to say, "Wait a minute, some of us are in different organizations, and some of us are not in any organization. This is about our life, and it's something again I don't take lightly." And it's similar. When Spurgeon Jake Winters, when he was assassinated November 13th, 1969, After defending himself, he had took down two Chicago police before he was took out. The feds had an emergency meeting, and they said, and it was said that they said, what's making these niggas move with the spirit of Quantrell? Quantrell being a Confederate general. And the response was his Chairman Fred and the Black Panther Party. And they had to supersede, say, move fast. And that's what we seen December 4th, the assassinations of Chairman Fred and the Fiscal Lamar Clark. That anytime this system sees any respect for our people, you know what I'm saying? Again, and it's not something that, again, Chicago is a city of structure. And you just can't go out there and say I'm such and such in your name, but it has to be earned. You know, and I've been in those places, Cook County Jail and other concentration camps. And again, it's something that we do not take lightly. But again, we have to really up the ante and not be liberal or dismissive about these arbitrary tactics. Every time we're not a state-sanctioned spokesperson, you know what I'm saying? You can go and I say state-sanctioned spokesperson. Some individuals who they give us as our leaders, they let them come in. You know what I'm saying? But again, we come from the community of representing the people, and it should be also acknowledged that you can go up in zoos, dog kennels. You know what I'm saying? If any question how the dogs are being treated, they have no problem. You know, we can go visit Brookfield Zoo. What's the issue about Cook County Jail? What do they have to have? And also, it should be noted that we're talking about exactly 50 years to the date of Attica, the uprisings in Attica, and one of the demands of Attica was they called for Chairman Bobby Seale of the Black Panther Party, becoming as a community observer to see what's going on. We haven't even said we going there with no conclusions, just to come up inside there. And also, when the arbitrator for the United Nations wanted to call for inspections of prisons throughout the world, even under the tenure of Saddam Hussein, Iraq, they said, okay, come on, see what's going on. Why did the United States, why did Cook County Jail in particular say, no, we do not want you to come in here and see what's going on? What's going on in here that they do not want us to come in there, meet Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., Dr. LaShawn, and others coming as community observers, just to see what's going on? That we have to heighten that contradiction. What's going on that they don't want us to see what's happening now?
They had a situation here in Georgia, Arendelle Women's Prison. The same thing is going on. They just had 7 elected officials denied access to the prison. Matter of fact, we had a sister from our organization come on because her daughter was being abused. They had staples in her head, had her in solitary confinement, the whole nine. And the warden refused to talk to her. They refused to talk, so on and so forth. We brought her on. We had our audience call the warden that day. The sister called us back that night, said, listen, the warden just called me. They moved out of solitary confinement. She's in the infirmary. They gave me a full report, so on and so forth. We have to take this tactic beyond just a local situation. You know what I mean? So that's why it's important. They need to get phone calls from all over the world. They need to know that the world is watching and eyes are on you. And it's not just, you're going to shut this down because of the fact that Chairman Fred is a quote unquote outside agitator. You understand what I'm saying? We got to deal with this scientifically. So definitely, if there's any phone numbers that or email addresses or whatever that we can have the audience get with, we'll definitely clip this show, rebroadcast, and make sure that folks go in and push it on. So
let me reiterate the importance of what you're saying about that. That is key. In fact, we have had some of those released out of isolation due to the pressure we've been placed on Cook County Jail. Right. We say what Frantz Fanon said, we will accept their concessions, but never compromise our position. So again, that's important. That's imperative. Keep the heat on that we've been doing. We have international calls. The Sheriff Tom Dart, their work hours. I know they say they close voicemail 9 to 5, but they locking us up 24/7. So we got to work 24/7 on that pressure. So
without a doubt,
right on. We got to keep that pressure on.
Yeah. No, you got.
Just want to. I just want to make sure folks were reminded 132calls.com has links people can follow up on, including where you can join Casandra on her weekly conference. I don't want to say confrontation, but engagement with Cook County Jail, and also more information on where you can reach out as well. And by the way, just a belated happy birthday to George Jackson yesterday. Speaking of
long live the Field
absolutely.
Marshal George Jackson. Right on.
No
Right
doubt.
on.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Speaking,
Yeah.
Right on.
So
Long live Field Marshal George Jackson. Yes,
speaking of Field Marshal George, you've been out for 20 years a couple days ago, huh?
20 years, man.
Yeah.
Been out 20 years. You know, still not free, still fighting. You know what I'm saying? And I don't take it for granted. I'm back out here with my sanity, still got my sanity intact, and still fighting. And in the spirit of Harriet Tubman, got to go back and get the rest of them, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We're not satisfied. Excuse me, I thought my mic was my mic muted a minute ago when I was speaking.
No, you good,
No,
man. You know they
good.
can't. You know they can't mute you, man. Go on with that.
No. I thought I did on accident. My fault.
Nah.
No,
We
listen,
control
but
these boys over here.
while we're here, man, are there any updates? Can you update us just what has happened over the last, I don't know, year or so since I can't remember the last time you were on talking about the film. But what has happened just quickly about with Hampton House and any other updates? How's your mom doing? You know, all of that. Like what's going on?
Right on. Let me go. Mom's Mama Cool and Jerry. She's who's on that. We fortunate to have one of our advisory board for the Black Panther Party Club. Still getting down, still moving. Hampton House, you know what I'm saying? The ups and downs, tug and pull. We have got the banksters and the gangsters. Well, the banksters up our back. However, we still, you know what I'm saying, got a lot of work to do side here, but we're working. In fact, our next move we're planning on in conjunction with the Justice for Nicholas Lee, Justice for them all. We're talking about going to Louisiana, taking a caravan down with supplies down to Louisiana. So we say the Hampton House is bigger than the building, more significant in the structure. Our programs, we have a community refrigerator still right outside the Hampton House. So we still working, you know what I'm saying? Still working, and people can also go SaveTheHamptonHouse.org, SaveTheHamptonHouse.org, hit the donate button, and what else campaign? The museum, we're still doing tours here and there. We still moving and grooving, man, at the Hampton House, man. You know what I'm saying? We working on making a more connection with the movie and that is with Maywood in general. I guess October 15th, October will be the 55th anniversary of the Black Panther Party. We're having a press conference here at the Hampton House. We're going to launch, submit the signatures for the Hampton House to be a historical landmark. Rakim, who's also on the soundtrack, he'll be in town on October 15th. So we have a big press conference then. We're going to also launch the People's Bench. It's a special bench that's going to be built and designed right here from the Hampton House. You know what I'm saying? So we up and ante. You know, so we still moving and grooving. We up and ante with the Hampton House.
That's good to hear, man. And especially and Rakim had definitely one of the more significant tracks on that soundtrack for sure.
Yeah.
So shout out to that's good to hear. And we know about we know a little bit about those community refrigerators around here. Shout out to community movement builders and Kamal Franklin.
They got pushed off the block. You know what I'm saying? But
right on.
But it's all good, man. Yeah, man. I was still hot with Chairman because he didn't get me on that soundtrack. I was thinking about.
Let me say this to you. Let me say this real quick. Let me jump in. The internal politics of this here. You know, I've been new from outside. I know you just jugging, come around, but
you know.
The reality is a lot of people really thought that you know what I'm saying, the battles, you know what I'm saying, everything from the title of the movie, you know what I'm saying, the internal struggles, and even after the sound.
Wait, tell them that title again. Tell them that title again.
One of the titles they had submitted, they had first. One of them that was Jesus Was My Homeboy. We had to fight, and we fought tooth and nail. Rakim was not even said to be on the soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? We fought tooth and nail. And in the main, a lot of people fell out with me like, man, I put it on the soundtrack, and it was there. I said, wait, do you understand the battles that we went through to get to this stage? In fact, you know, the piece I submitted, I got word that night was going to the deadline is tomorrow morning. We had to go around the corner, go to the hood studio, get it recorded, and run it. And I said to people, do you understand the politics of getting your music played at a backyard barbecue? It's, what do you mean, Chairman? I say, just saying, who knows, who's so on and so forth. There were artists that I even questioned. How is this person getting on the soundtrack? You know what I'm saying? Right. And you stop. You know what I'm saying? But only way we can gain some concessions if people come in acknowledging that everything from a movie to a soundtrack to a fashion.
It's political.
It's political. If a black people, we come into a football game with a golf club, as you know what I'm saying, we have to come in this dynamic again with a political analysis. Reckon, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people approach this dynamic like we're free. You know what I'm saying? Melvin Van Peebles passed yesterday.
That's right.
The relationship, the impact that Minister UEP Newton had with Melvin Van Peebles played a role even decades later when even the movie Panther came out. Initially, the studios was trying. Guess what? The studios wanted Tom Cruise to play Minister UEP Newton. Okay. Yeah, but the impact that Minister UEP Newton had on Melvin Van Peebles still said no go. We had
wait. You said they want to play who?
Tom, you heard Tom. Man, let me say this again. I know I speak for Tom Cruise. You have to see. You have to look at.
Hey, remember, because they were good. Remember, Julia Roberts was once floated to play Harriet Tubman.
We no doubt about it. We just so look.
Yeah.
Listen. So the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, the stuff that we got in there. I mean, we made revolutionary leaps and bounds with this. The relationship that we had with Ryan Coogler up in the. I mean, the onset. You know what I'm saying? We was able to get like a dream team. But people must acknowledge. People come in with this. It's not a lack of understanding that we're not under attack. One of the sisters, who's the sister who plays Spurgeon Jake Winter's mother, Alicia Joy Powell. She said, you know, it's something about. I looked at even the relationship. You know what I'm saying, with Chairman Fred and your mother. I was on the set, and other people saying, you want to be right here? Yeah, we're gonna be right here. It's even political how we stress the relationship. And a lot of people saying it was exposed later. She brought it to my attention that Hollywood it's a rule. Google it. It's a rule called the production code. The production code meant they were never to show our people, black people, having a relationship. See, we you know what I'm saying? Stuff you take for granted. You know what I'm saying? Even everything down to a lot of the youth, that was their first time even seeing it. Or like I remember one of the struggles I had on the set. I said, wait a minute, this was not a ragtag group of individuals. You think it was initially there was no deterrent. Chairman was not me. You know what I'm saying? We struggled for that structure. We struggled for even the way you walk, the wardrobe. You know what I'm saying? There was one scene everybody to this day they laugh about it. Chairman, when you only said one morning with 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and you seen William O'Neill's character, he had 4 stars.
Hold on. Hey, Chairman Fred, we need hold on a second. Your connection is bad, man. Yeah, hold on a second. I'm not sure it's coming through clearly.
Can you hear me now? Is it going?
Yeah.
All right.
When you got excited, the internet got excited. we hear you now.
Right. It's okay.
You good. You good though.
Stuff that people take for granted. It's one of the scenes where everybody, they say, Chairman, they recall I came on the set one morning about 6 in the morning, I had two cups of coffee in my hand. And I seen William O'Neill's.
Oh.
Hey. As soon as you started talking about William O'Neill, they said it's a rap. I don't know what you think this is, man. Black Power Media.
Hey, anyway. I don't want anybody to think I did that just because they know that we don't see eye to eye on that film. I had nothing to do with that right there. We're gonna get Fred back.
I'm gonna make sure I hit him up and be like, man, I think that was Jet. There you go, right here. He good.
Yeah. And just real quick, I actually thought it was Fred. Before you get started again, where is that background noise coming from that I keep hearing? I thought it was. But it's not. I don't think it's. Am I the only one hearing it? Okay, never mind.
No, it sounds like a little crackle or something. Like somebody.
Yeah. Somebody's typing in the background.
That's my phone, I believe. Can you hear it?
Yeah, we got you now. Yeah. Okay. Sounds like somebody's beatboxing.
Yeah.
I think it's my. I'm scared it's my phone.
Yeah, you good now? Yeah. You back in
the I think I was speaking about the scene where everything that the soundtrack, and I really. The battles, it's important to put stuff in context that I'm saying, like time we see the end result and we say, oh, that's good, you know. I mean, the struggles that went down even with the soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? I recall, I'm having flashbacks right now. I still wake up at nighttime jumping up. Cut. Stop. To this day. And it really. So
you was on the set telling them to cut?
Oh man, listen. We don't play about this legacy.
Right on.
We don't play about this legacy. We don't care if it's bogus organizations created. We don't care if it's Hollywood. We don't care. We don't care what your last name is. We don't care if it's family members. We don't care if it's bogus book. This legacy bigger than our life. We don't cut no corner.
Right.
No, you know what I'm saying? Nobody. You know what I'm saying? We don't care if it's some. Go Google, ask Siri about us. Type in Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. and contraband clothing, and we approach the world from a realist point of view. A lot of people come from this abstract viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? Because the movie isn't saying this. What are you dealing with? What's the history of Hollywood? You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
And our people, what can they grasp? I'm talking about. A lot of people say, "Well, I wish you would have gave more about this one." I mean, what are you? Cats? It's like when you say this, it's like talking about those 13 white children that they found starving, almost starving to death. Everybody, oh, feed them, feed them. The doctor said, "Wait a minute, you will kill them. They haven't ate nothing. You will kill them. They have to go step by step with saline. You get these. A lot of people are not, in the words of Jack Nicholson's character, A Few Good Men, can't handle the truth." William O'Neill was not the only agent of provocateur, and a lot of people are not ready for the rest of the information. Believe me.
But tell us, you were talking about the scene that you were walking in on at 6 a.m. with 2 cups of coffee. Just real quick before we lose that. Yeah.
It's Jared's favorite part.
That's what it's like. We still laugh about that when we talk down to this day. You know what I'm saying? They say, "Champ, you came in," and in fact, it's a photo. You can see the before and after. So Lakeith Stanfield was portraying O'Neill. They came in, so he had the beret had 4 stars, like literally, like 4 stars on his beret. And I just came in. They said, "Chairman, you went berserk." You in the chair, and Chairman, I said, "Damn, Chairman even got this. Where this come from?" You know, and the deal is, it portrayed like you know, like you said, what's from wardrobe, or creatively speaking, or just cinema speaking. You know, so that's a better word for it. You may say, "What's the big deal?" However, but this we was able to get a relation to understand the political significance that had. Me and my mother were not only, you know, culture, you know, saying culture experts, you know, because I tend to do the word consultants threw around loosely, like you just they have your name around, but the political significance of the Black Panther Party, we had to stress that. Like even scenes where Dominique Thorne's character, when she was inside the headquarters. And initially, you know, her shooting first. I said, no. He said, no. This, you know what I'm saying, the politics of this, you know what I'm saying, this is the Black Panther Party for self-defense. They were under attack. They defended themselves. So everything, right. And so there's a lot of things that we had to struggle to put in. And mind you, this is a revolutionary organization. There are some things that we have to go to the graveyard with. There's some things that you'll say we can't talk about. And like even certain touchy subjects, like, you know, the contradictions, you know what I'm saying, within the Black Panther Party, how we dealt with them, how we didn't deal with them, all this was significant. So again, that was a scene that we still laugh about this day. Say when I came in, I seen I had 2 cups of coffee. I said, "Whoa, wait a minute! How's this guy with these stars?" And even we had to contend against so much bogus information that was put out. Go back and look at certain bogus books that were written about the chairman of the Black Panther Party. Yeah. O'Neill was never Chairman Fred's security. You know what I'm saying? You see, and a lot of people don't understand that. Like ego tripping about chairman. No, this is a structured organization, checks and balances. So you may have a person that's around you that you know what I'm saying, that say, wait a minute, that's not his friend or his buddy. This is with the white community, you can see it. Look at the TV show Blue Bloods. You can see a man and a woman, police officers going on rolling patrol together. It doesn't even in your mind. Is that his girlfriend? Do he like her? It doesn't even in your mind. When it comes to our people, one time we had a major internal contradiction with one of the agent provocateurs that infiltrated our organization. And one sister, when we exposed them, one sister said, I didn't know who that was. I thought that was your friend. I said, yes, because you come from a petty bourgeoisie organization. Right. You cannot see the structure of our organization. You know what I'm saying? Checks and balances. You know what I'm saying? And that's important because structure identifies, quote me on this here, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., structure identifies state shit and stops other bullshit. That's right. And in the movie, how he walked in, that scene when he walked into the door, I checked in with other organizations to see how they feel if they were depicted. If they said no go, it was a no go. So we had, you know, so there was different. It's reciprocal. It wasn't just about when you talk the Rainbow Coalition. It's not, you know, the deal is the dynamics. Who Chairman Fred took with him, when he took certain things could not be in that movie because it could not be. It's Hollywood is incapable of the of landing out. So you have to come in and recognize what you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And we make leaps and bounds. We put a lot of Panther Cub political pills in the applesauce.
You know, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was talking to Deruba one time and he said that Robert De Niro wanted to do a film on him, right? Mm-hmm. And he said that I said, well, what happened? He said, I ended up cussing that motherfucker out. I said, well, why you cuss him out? Because you know, Deruba, he cuss somebody out for any damn reason. So he said, the dude gonna tell me how they gonna play my role and how they gonna tell my story. You know what I'm saying? He said, it's my motherfucking life. You know what I mean? And then, you know, to some people, like you said, to folks who are unpoliticized and have no structure, they say, oh man, you know, Robert De Niro, during that time, he could have painted this big picture of you and whatnot. But oftentimes in these film joints, you know, there is no creative control. There is no control of the edit, so on and so forth. So knowing that, you know, just, you know, dabbling in that particular world, you know, the fact that you were able to have an impact on that production, that's a major thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not what he's talking about for the audience. This ain't just no, you know, this is about my father's life and I could just come up on the set. I mean, the fact that you even allowed on the set it don't do that. You see the results of that film after that shit come out like everybody else. You might catch it at the premiere before.
Just real quick, I always remember the story. I keep forgetting his name. The brother that played the brother in the Green Book. Ali.
Mahershala.
Ali, right?
Mahershala. Yeah, like Mahershala Ali. Yeah, he's a rapper.
Oh wow, okay. But when the criticism came out about the film and the inaccuracies and the fact that the brother in real life didn't even want his story to be told, Ali actually acknowledged he never even knew that the character he was portraying had a family. Never mind were they invited to the set. Yeah. He actually said in an interview, I didn't know the man had any family at all, much less that they were critical of what was going on. So that is
the same thing just happened with Mos Def.
The movie was set to go. We got worried about it through social, you know what I'm saying? We had to come through damage control. You know what I'm saying?
And that was years ago.
Yes, and speaking of Mos Def, now knows y'all seen Bay. Yeah, Johnny Depp years ago, over a decade ago, had approached him with a thing about Chairman Fred. Mos Def said, "Wait a minute, let me call the chairman." He called a relationship. Yeah. He called. He said, "Which?" I said, "It's a no go, man. Principal, brother. You know what I'm saying? Code of culture. You know what I'm saying? Man, the principle." And deal is a lot of times they have a lot of the artists they encapsulate these bubbles. You know, the movie Dreamgirls. When Jennifer Hudson's character came outside, what's going on? That's for real. They also a lot of them be so detached, have no idea what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Go back and look at when we met with Daniel, the meeting with Daniel Kaluuya, Dominic Fishback. That was strategic. We said, wait a minute, we have to meet at the Hampton House. Then after 8 hours of meeting, I said, okay, now Google, what's the worst neighborhood in Chicago? They Googled it. 11 murders happened right there on Madison and Keeler. 3 in the morning. Let's go right there. People said, "Whoa, wait a minute, the studio won't lock. We gotta go to our office." Down, we went right there, but blood still on the ground. On the ground. I watched Daniel Kaluuya. You know what I'm saying? This is some of the necessary dynamics. You know what I'm saying? That you have to express yourself such a force. I mean, and also he talks about how he yielded himself to the character. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people come in with their own thoughts. Well, I'm gonna make Chairman out this way. You know what I'm saying? Even with myself, I yield to the legacy of Chairman. I say, hold on, I have to acknowledge this is a different dynamic. You know, a lot of people come with their own position, how they're gonna do, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people can't do that because they don't even know who they are as an individual.
Sure.
So Casandra, I wanted to bring you back in because I don't know how much time we all are set to spend. So I'm not rushing or looking to wrap up, but I wanted to make sure that at least one other question came back after hearing a little bit from Chairman Fred there, because a lot of what we hear about, whether we're hearing about the film or Fred Hampton Sr. or Fred Hampton Jr., a lot of the discussion is seems disconnected from real life. So in other words, so what has it? If we could talk, I was wondering what if you could talk a little bit about what has it meant to have Chairman Fred be involved in supporting your issue and your case, and raising up the memory of Nicholas and his murder. In other words, again, because like we might hear about activists or see portrayals of this, that, and the third, or see people in media, but then you're actually experiencing this in a very different way, where in many ways there is not any camera or media attention or microphones looking to promote or cover what's going on. So I was just wondering if you had any thoughts or could say a little bit about what it's been like from your perspective to actually have people like Chairman Fred and other activists from the community doing this kind of grassroots work in support of your situation.
Well, first of all, I don't even compare or link chairman with other activists because they're actors. Most of them are. Chairman, when I tell you it's boots on the ground, it doesn't matter. He don't need cameras. I talk to him all the time. It's not he. Man, he real. What you see is what you get. He's out here. He's fighting for real. He genuinely want to help people like me, help the brothers that's back behind those walls. He don't need media. He don't need an army. When I call, he's coming. The guys back there, they were so elated. They were so happy because they didn't even think, because they looking like most people do, Judas and the Black Messiah. That's all Hollywood. When this man, when it's a problem, he's coming. Like it's not no, like you said, most activists, and I hate to say this because it's some real ones. It really is some real ones, but since I've been in this fight, it's so many that's not genuine, that is all for the media, it's all for money. That's why when you see me, I stand alone, but you have Dr. LaShawn, you have the Chairman Freds. My list don't go on, and I hate to say this because when I started out, when the media came, you saw a lot of people. They came out there and said they was activists, but no, they was actors. They were actors. So I thank God for people like the chairman that's really out here, that's real, that not only do he come out, he make it happen. He call in with you. He ride with you to go to the jails to stand for the men and women that can't stand for themselves. So what you see is what you get. They can do all the Hollywood, and yeah, I mean, even when Judas and the Black Messiah came out, he was still talking to the inmates when he was out of town, still helping them. So
Just real quick, who did the video? Who did that video of work for you all on your website on 132calls.com?
Oh, that was a combination of people. The Coalition to End Bond Fund, which is the Chicago Community Bond Fund. Just a variety of people. Zealous, different organizations.
Okay,
Right
Jared thought that. Go ahead. Say what you saying.
No, go ahead. Get your joke.
I was going to say, I know you thought Chairman Fred did it. You was going to ask him about it. But
yeah, I was going to ask him, hook us up. But I also wanted to ask the Chairman Fred, the audio that you and Rosa Clemente sent. Did you all want me to play that? I mentioned it when Dr. Littrice was on last week. It was. I'm not gonna lie, man. It's harrowing. Is the word that keeps coming to mind. But I didn't know if you all wanted or intended for that to be publicly shared or.
Please.
I'm sorry. I have one more thing to say in reference to what you asked me. His name does bring power because, as he stated before, I have 7 men that I'm campaigning for that has been in isolation, solitary confinement. Some have been in there for 23 years, 20 years. Not the amount of time they've been in jail, solitary confinement. But when the chairman had them on his show, mysteriously, the warden sent out letters to them the very next week saying that they were leaving solitary confinement. But one thing that I want people to know, the call-ins are good, but don't let them spoon feed us, because just because chairman had them on their show, now you want to let them out of solitary confinement and they've been in there for decades. No, the fight is going to go on. It's 63 more men that I have to put out here that the chairman's going to help me with. But just don't let them spoon feed us, because the calls do work. After the chairman had the inmates, he was talking to them at the Cook County Jail. They spoon fed us and gave them masks. We can't stop. We can't let them just do what they want to do. We have to keep going. So that's all I want to say.
Okay. This is a different program right here. You know what I'm saying? Line them up, we knock them down. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no,
I can try to. I was even,
please,
I can
please play that. Please play that.
Try to play this right here.
We want people to play that.
Let's go.
That's coming directly from those brothers inside those behind those walls. Please play. And as my sister just said, let's move.
Miss Walker, this that is good. In the business here in Cook County Jail. Once again, then it got worse in here. The boy just tried to kill himself and stabbed himself in the neck. Blood everywhere that he done passed out. They still ain't trying to give him no medical attention. Name not T. James. The boy still 24, Lopez, Armando Lopez, who had the COVID symptoms. They put somebody else in the cell with him. They just shoving us around today. We went on hunger strikes in here. They punishing us for standing up for our rights. We need y'all help, please. We need y'all help. We need you, Casandra, Fred Hampton, all y'all come help us. Get Chuck out in them in here. We need y'all help. They trying to kill us in here. They trying to kill us. Please, come on. Help us.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Less than 24 hours after he spoke, he was not beaten to the point of non-responsiveness and placed in Stroger Hospital. Less than 24 hours after that is Be Good spoke, he was beaten to the point of non-responsiveness. You know what I'm saying? Thankfully he's alive, right now. But again, ain't no guarantee tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We got to, again, this week, man, we have to seize the time. That after he spoke, he was beaten they flew to Stroger Hospital. I'm stressing Stroger Hospital because usually you take him right to Cermak. That's right in the county jail. It's a joke. They're gonna take you to Cermak. To take outside the Stroger, even by their own admission, it's intense. After he spoke, he was he was non-responsive. He's still with us, you know what I'm saying? But again, ain't no guarantee tomorrow's up in there. So again, that's him directly telling you. What's going on?
Was that COs? Was that COs that attacked them, or was that
three
paid?
COs? Three COs. Okay, they say, somebody threw some. They first of all, the term state property. Let's put that in context. When you inside those camps, in particular, nothing happens to you unless they sanction it or know about it. That's the term state property.
That's right.
Now the microwave. Let's say the microwave was brought up on the deck and it's unusually late. Hot water, boiling hot water, give it to another quote unquote inmate. The door is open. Who got the key to open the cell door?
Right.
Goes up in there. They say throw the hot water on his face, and then when he defends himself, 3 guards at minimum go in the cell with him. All you hear is gurgling. Then he's taken up out of there. You know what I'm saying? 3 guards going to cell with him. After this, you hear gurgling. He's beaten to the point of being non-responsive. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this man, he was not. What's it? Quack like a pig, quack like a duck, oink like a pig, sound like a pig. Man, it's a pig, man.
These motherfuckers are consistent, boy, and I say that part of my English. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they are absolutely consistent, man. And
so beyond going to 132calls.com, what other specifics are we being asked to do here? Are we calling the Cook County Jail? Are we calling the sheriff? What other specifics can we ask ourselves and those who see this video to do?
Well, those in the Chicago area are close to it. We need warm bodies out there too. You know what I'm saying? Right there, it's so inspiring. You know what I'm saying? These sisters, man, and others, man, to my man, right there in front of that county jail. It's inspiring and it's heartbreaking when you see. I mean, with toothpaste, some even with blood, have been writing on the windows. You know what I'm saying? Cook County Jail is inside the community. David, save us, help us, free them all. You know what I'm saying? They've been putting this on the windows. So for those in the Chicago or close to it, come see for yourself. So Casandra, Dr. Sean, they get the next day. We're gonna be out there though. But I mean, we've been having movies out there. We've been consistently out there. Right? I mean, go look at some of the old photos. Freezing cold, intensely hot, right there. You know what I'm saying? Out there from the Cook County Jail. there are also these other numbers to call in, but also keep in mind, election time is coming up too. You know what I'm saying? So again, increase the heat. You know what I'm saying? And go look at an old 60 Minutes interview with Sheriff Tom Dart. He asked out his own mouth. He says Cook County Jail is the #1 mental health facility in the country. Out his own mouth.
At his own mouth.
Well, we definitely encourage people to continue to support. We are, as a platform, here to offer whatever help we can, as long as you all need it and for whatever reason. So please do keep us informed. I mean, we can, for what little it's worth, I'm even happy to work with you. I'm sure others will, in terms of if you all wanted to live stream from your events out there, we're happy to support that as well. Like whatever we can do.
Press conferences, all that.
All of that. Just holler at us. Definitely.
Worth a lot. Right on, brother.
Yeah.
Again, we appreciate y'all. So again, as you just draw the correlation with it was happening in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? This is a microcosm of what's happening throughout all these concentration camps. Some of the initial victims in the gas chamber in Nazi Germany was the ones who did not receive any mail. They studied who has contacts outside contact. Minister UEP said they love to perform their treachery in the dark. We must turn the lights on. There are prisoners in Illinois who've been dead over 15 years. The state still got them on count. They still getting paid for them. So this got to be contagious. You know what I'm saying? This got to be contagious like the coronavirus, this resistance. You know what I'm saying? Throughout the country, throughout the world, what's going on inside these places? You know what I'm saying? They don't want us to know what's going on. Make it a common conversation. One prisoner, one contact, free them all.
Hey, listen, Chairman, I'm going to reach out to you later on, man. We need to build a national campaign. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about doing something to connect these dots, because of the fact that part of the issue is that you have the Nicholas Lee situation over in Chicago, but then you have someone else in Atlanta, someone else in New York, someone else in North Carolina, so they're able to skate around it. So we have to be able to attack this, the Board of Prisons, the Prison Bureau, you know what I'm saying? Just like we have to deal with these what do you call them? The police, folks over the police that defend the police. The
fraternal
FOP.
Yeah, FOP. Yeah. So we got to deal with these cats systemically, not just systematically, not just individually. So let's link up and talk about taking it to another level. But definitely appreciate you.
Look at the police in the outside community, knowing they're on camera.
Yeah.
Look how they still get down with us right now in the outside community. Knowing they on camera.
So imagine what's going on inside.
Imagine how they getting down behind them walls.
Yeah, man. And I'm glad you saying that, because folks get it twisted. When we say fuck the police, it's not just the ones out here on the streets. You know what I'm saying? That go for the COs, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? And in some cases, the security guards too. You know what I mean? So, anybody that's upholding this system, fuck them. Sorry about that, Jared. I forgot I'm on your show this morning.
It is all one show. It's all one stream. Dr.
Chairman got me cursing.
Any concluding thoughts, at least for today? Obviously, you are always welcome back as well. But we'll get to Chairman Fred at some point. Peace to him. But I wanted to give you a chance to say anything.
I just wanted to say, continue to join us. To anyone listening, join us outside of Cook County Jail. You can go to Cassandra's page, Casandra Greer. You can go to Chairman Fred's page. You can go to my page, LaShawn Yvonne Littrice. We share things that we're doing on a regular basis, but there's always a need for more bodies out there, as Chairman stated. So we just appreciate the platform and just look forward to doing it on a national level. Thank you so much.
Anytime. And Casandra as well. Any last words for now? And of course, you're always welcome back. And we appreciate you in all the work that you're doing.
I thank you guys for helping me. You just don't understand that even if we reach one person today, that knows Nicholas' story and know what's going on here at the Cook County Jail, that's a big help, because that one person will tell someone else. And my goal is just to keep shedding light. And I just don't want another family to feel the pain that I continually feel every day, because this is the hardest fight I've been in my life, but I'm going to win, and I'm not going to stop until I have no more breath in my body. So I thank you all, and please view my page and view my journey, which is Casandra Greer on Facebook. And I also have a Justice for Littrice Lee page on Facebook as well. So I thank you guys so much for having me on your show today.
Anytime.
We appreciate y'all.
Anytime.
Keep up the
Definitely
fight.
appreciate you.
Thank
And
you.
best of luck to you and yours. And thanks again for coming on. Chairman Fred, thanks to you as well. And like I always say, you know, like your father used to say, peace, because we know you're going to fight for it. So it's always good to see you, and much love to your mom as well.
Yeah, keep up the solid work, man.
Yes, indeed. All
You
right.
too, bro. Thank y'all.
All right, right on. Appreciate everybody. Take care. Peace.
No doubt. Peace.
All right, Kalonji, everybody, let's take a quick breath and then come back and reset and get into a couple other things before we get out of here this morning. There's a few other things, and you know.
You got me working on my off day, Dr. Jared Ball.
You know what I'm saying? It's always a pleasure. You know, we got to grab somebody. Kaba thought he was going to get away and run out here and do something, but you know,
man, you know, you can't count on Kaba, man. I've been knowing that cat 20 years. He low down.
All right, yeah, real quick break, back in a second. I mix what I like.